So it is getting to be past my bedtime, and I'm going to make one last attempt at talking about my philosophy of worship base. Um, Now, the philosophy that I it makes the most sense to me, and it's what I see around me in my day to day life is interactionism. Everything has an effect and is affected by everything else. Everything is connected. Um, and there's a really thick and fun to read book called The Self and Its Brain, where you can really get into the weeds of that and learn about neurons and all sorts of things. But that's going to be our guiding principle is interactionism. All right, so the first thing, be a team player. Be on time. Be prepared. Get equipment that does the job, that serves the the mission, rather than ego or whatever. Um, be somebody who is I guess fun to be around, at least pleasant and professional. Um, you know, I hate to have any sort of technical problem. I hate to be the reason that a practice gets held up. One time, actually during a service, I thought I had my tuner engaged, so my signal was killed. And as the preacher is starting to, pray, I hit this big open string to tune, and that's my worst nightmare. Um, be a team player. Show up. You know, you don't have to be in a good mood, but don't let anybody know if you're not. All right, so tone. Um, um, right now, I use flat wound strings. They've been on for a while, so they're mostly dead, and they're gonna die even more. And unless I break one, those are gonna be the only strings that ever go on that bass. Um, and I play with a piano player. There's always a piano player right now. There's always at least one acoustic guitar, sometimes electric, um, and so sonically, there's a lot going on, and so I want to have a low, warm, duddy, thick tone. Now, if I get advance notice that it's just going to be one guitar player and the drummer, I don't know if I mentioned the drummer the first time, but if it's just going to be a three-piece band, I'm probably going to bring out the Fender with the round wounds, because now there's more open space to fill. And so I think that's a good rule of thumb. If you have a lot of different instruments going on, then try to sit low. If you have a lot of space to fill, then play in such a way that you're going to fill that space. All right, so when I started, um, one of the first books that I got, or maybe the first. No, but an early book for me, and a formative person for me, was James Jameson. The book is Standing in the Shadow of Motown, and interesting dude. uh, and just beyond talented. What's really cool now is you can find his like isolated stuff on YouTube, and you couldn't get that when I was starting. But you had this book, and you can still get this book. And in the back, you have all these people, Jack Bruce and John Entwistle and Paul McCartney and a bunch of others, probably Will Lee, bunch of guys, all playing Jameson's lines on the CD, and a bunch of Motown songs with the bass parts all laid out for you. And at some point, I noticed that Jameson was really not going beyond like the seventh fret, maybe the ninth or 10th fret occasionally, but he was really sitting down low, and I mean, he's still playing busy. He's still playing a lot of notes. He's Jameson, but he's by and large he is staying in the deep end. Sometimes I hear other bass players complain about their situation with the piano player, and the common complaint is like, oh, the piano player at my church, she plays, she uses her left hand and she's playing the same notes as me, and it bothers them, and it doesn't bother me because I'm thickening what they're playing. So it's not about me and being heard. Human nature is that you want to be noticed, and you want people to see you and recognize you. And when you play the bass, the way to do that is to go up high and play more notes, and that is counterintuitive. There's situations where that's called upon, but if that's what you're doing, a lot of people, including myself, are gonna think, hey man, that guy's not really doing a good job. He's not holding down the low end. So anyways, so that is kind of where my tone and my my choice of notes comes from, is just that Jameson and trying to hold down the low end. Right now, what I've been paying attention to and kind of focusing on is control of note length, and just altering between like a long note, short note, and I'm using the compressor now. Before, I would use it on some songs where it would fit, where I would use the fuzz for sustain. But yeah, that's kind of where at this point I'm not really thinking a lot about the notes that I play. As long as I'm playing the song, but I am trying to do interesting things with the note length. So I'm gonna wrap this up and just talk about worship for a second. And I'm not gonna get really deep into it theologically or academically or whatever. There's an excellent book co-written by Chris Tomlin on the subject. If that's something you're interested in, But what I'm going to talk about is just my own experience. When I was younger, I thought, and I kind of put this pressure on myself in worship settings that I had to feel a certain way and that it had to impact me. Uh, and I kind of put myself in the center of it. Just verbalizing that now, I just kind of see myself putting myself in the center of it. And, and that's something where, if you get in a situation where you're trying to manufacture a experience for yourself and others, um, that could not, there's potentially, that's a not healthy situation. Um, what I try to do now, or what I do now, is I facilitate. So if I show up for practice and show up for services and am professional and pleasant and do my job, then you know everything runs smoother and everything is thicker and has a nice fat bottom on it. Um, so there's this little old lady, and she means well, and I like about once a month, like every third time that I play, she comes up to me and she says something like, "Well, I can't hear what you're doing, but you keep trying, and good job," and I kind of chuckle to myself because I'm kind of going, like I'm doing my job. I know what I'm doing, and and you're at the mercy of the sound guy, and there's a couple guys that I kind of like where they have me on the levels, and there's a couple guys where like I wish they would have me up a little bit higher, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, give me a second to think. Did I have any closing thoughts? No, no. All right. Well, have a good night.